The second the front door clicked shut behind my two kids, I knew the world had tilted off its axis and would never right itself again. Mia, 10 going on 30, dropped her purple suitcase with a thud that echoed like a gunshot in my chest, and Leo, 8 and still convinced hugs could fix anything, froze mid-step, his Spider-Man backpack sliding from one shoulder. They looked at each other the way soldiers do after a firefight. Eyes wide, lips pressed thin, a silent conversation I wasn't invited to. I knelt, arms open, the way I always did when they came home from anywhere, but neither moved toward me. That was the first fracture. "Hey monsters," I managed, voice cracking on the pet name we'd used since they were toddlers. "Missed you like crazy." Mia's gaze flicked to the floorboards, Leo's to the ceiling. The air smelled of airport pretzels and something metallic, fear maybe. I stood up slowly, heart jackhammering. "What is it?" I asked. Leo swallowed so hard his throat clicked. "Mom said we're not supposed to tell," he whispered. Mia elbowed him, but the damage was done. Tell. The word detonated inside my skull. I'd waved them off 10 days earlier with the same stupid grin I'd worn for 15 years of marriage. Sarah had planned the whole thing. A family bonding trip to Costa Rica. Just her, the kids, and Uncle Mark, her co-worker who'd apparently become indispensable. I'd stayed behind because some idiot at the firm scheduled a client presentation the week of departure, and Sarah had kissed my cheek, said, "We'll send pictures, babe." And I believed her because believing her was the foundation my entire life sat on. I'd built our house on that foundation, literally. The mortgage paper still had both our names in tidy black ink. While they were gone, I'd scrubbed the kitchen until it gleamed, mowed the lawn in perfect diagonals, and slept diagonally across our king bed like a starfish claiming new territory. I told myself the ache in my sternum was just missing them. I was wrong. Mia finally spoke, voice small but steady. "Uncle Mark isn't an uncle, Daddy." She said it like she was reciting a fact from school, but her fingers worried the zipper on her suitcase until the teeth screamed. Leo nodded, eyes glassy. "He kissed Mommy. A lot. Like in the movies, but real." The room tilted. I gripped the back of the couch to keep from folding in half. My first instinct was laughter, absurd, hysterical, because this was Sarah, the woman who cried at SPCA commercials, who still blushed when I whispered dirty jokes at parties, who kept a gratitude journal and read it aloud every New Year's. Sarah didn't cheat. Sarah was the safe place I came home to after 12-hour days of spreadsheets and fluorescent lights. Except the kids weren't lying. Kids that age don't have the architecture for elaborate deception. Their faces were open books written in crayon in terror. I made them sit. I made myself sit. The couch springs groaned like they too resented what was coming. "Start from the beginning," I said, and my voice sounded like it belonged to someone else, someone who'd already died inside. Leo launched in, words tumbling. They'd flown first class, Mark's treat. He'd carried their bags, ordered them virgin piña coladas with extra cherries, taught them to say pura vida, with a terrible accent. At the resort there were infinity pools and iguanas the size of house cats. Sarah laughed more than she had in years. Her shoulders loosened in a way I hadn't seen since before the kids, before the minivan, before the slow erosion of date nights into grocery runs. Mark touched her constantly, hand on the small of her back guiding her through crowds, thumb brushing sand from her thigh, fingers laced through hers on the balcony at sunset. Leo demonstrated, linking his own grubby fingers together. "Like this but tighter," he said. Mia stared at her knees. "They thought we were asleep," she added quietly. "But the walls were thin." I pictured it with brutal clarity. The thatched roof cabana, ceiling fans spinning lazy circles. Sarah in the gauzy white cover-up I'd bought her for our 10th anniversary. Mark's mouth on the hollow of her throat where she spritzed that vanilla perfume every morning. The kids in the next room pretending to sleep while their mother unraveled the life we'd sworn to protect. My stomach lurched. I bolted for the bathroom and retched until my ribs ached, until the only thing left was the sour taste of betrayal. When I came back they were holding each other on the couch, two small bodies forming a fortress. I wanted to rage, to demand every detail until the images scorched themselves into permanence, but they looked so breakable. Instead I asked the question that terrified me most. "Do you still love Mommy?" Mia's answer was instant. "Yes." Leo's took longer. He picked at a scab on his elbow. "But I love you too, and I don't want you to be sad forever." Forever. The word lodged in my throat like a fishbone. That night I tucked them in separately, something we hadn't done since they were toddlers, because neither wanted to sleep apart from me yet neither wanted to leave the other's side. I lay between them on Mia's narrow bed, our 3 heartbeats sinking in the dark. Leo's hand found mine under the covers. Mia's head burrowed into my armpit. I stared at the glow-in-the-dark stars Sarah had stuck to the ceiling years ago and felt them mocking me. Fixed points in a universe that had just gone supernova. Sarah's key turned in the lock at 11:47 p.m. I'd been watching the clock like a man awaiting execution. She breezed in, smelling of airplane and coconut sunscreen. Hair in the messy bun. I used to call her sexy librarian look. "Babe," she called softly, toeing off her sandals. I met her in the hallway, kids asleep behind me, and the look on my face must have been atomic because she stopped dead. "What's wrong?" she asked, but her eyes already knew. I didn't yell. I couldn't. My voice came out flat, almost curious. "The kids told me everything." Her face cycled through emotions so fast it was almost comical. Confusion, recognition, guilt, defiance, grief. She reached for me. I stepped back. "Don't," I said. The single word cracked like ice. We talked until the sky outside turned dishwater gray. Not argued, talked in the way you do when the stakes are your children's sense of home. She cried, but not the pretty kind. Snot and hiccups and mascara tracks that made her look like a raccoon who'd lost a fight. She said Mark made her feel seen, that our life had become a checklist, lunchboxes, orthodontist appointments, sex on birthdays if we remembered. She said she never meant for it to happen, that Costa Rica was supposed to be a fling. A last gasp of youth before 40 loomed. She said she was going to end it. She said she loved me. I believed exactly none of it and all of it at once. The kids woke to pancakes and forced normalcy. I flipped bacon while Sarah poured orange juice with shaking hands. We smiled the brittle smiles of people balancing on a fault line. Mia asked if we were getting divorced. Leo asked if Uncle Mark was still coming to his birthday party. Sarah and I exchanged a look that contained 15 years of history and 0 answers. I told them nothing was decided, that grown-up problems were like puzzles and sometimes took time. Leo accepted this. Mia narrowed her eyes the way she does when she smells bullshit. Smart kid. Days bled into weeks. I moved into the guest room that smelled of dust and unused dreams. Sarah slept on the couch, claiming she couldn't bear our bed without me. We scheduled a therapist, couples, individual, family, the whole buffet. Mark texted once. I blocked the number without reading past. "I'm sorry." The kids oscillated between clingy and distant, drawing pictures of our family with increasingly larger gaps between the stick figures. I gained 10 pounds stress eating cereal at 2 a.m. and lost the ability to taste anything but salt. One night Mia crawled into my bed long after midnight. "Daddy," she whispered. "Are you going to leave?" I pulled her close, felt her bird bones under the blanket. "Never you," I said. "Never Leo. The rest we'll figure out." She was quiet so long I thought she'd fallen asleep. Then, "Mommy says she's sorry every day. She cries in the shower." I closed my eyes against the image. "I know, Peanut. Do you still love her?" The question hung like a blade. I thought of Sarah at 23. Laughing so hard wine came out her nose at our first apartment's leaky faucet. I thought of her swollen with each pregnancy, humming off-key to the babies in her belly. I thought of her lips on another man under a foreign moon. "Love's complicated," I said finally. "But it doesn't disappear just because it's broken." Acceptance didn't arrive in a lightning bolt. It seeped in like damp through drywall. I caught Sarah watching, really watching me fold laundry one afternoon. Her face soft with something that might have been remorse or might have been nostalgia. We started talking about logistics, custody schedules, finances, whether to sell the house with the swing set Leo had outgrown but refused to abandon. We agreed the kids would never again be pawns in adult mistakes. We agreed Mark was gone for good. We agreed therapy was non-negotiable. We did not agree on whether we still existed. Some nights I still wake at 3:14 a.m., the exact minute their plane landed back home, and feel the fracture all over again. But the edges have stopped bleeding. The kids laugh in full sentences now. Sarah and I can sit at the same dinner table without the air igniting. I don't know if we'll rebuild or demolish, but I know this. Betrayal didn't just break my heart. It broke the illusion that love is a fortress. It's a garden fragile, requiring daily tending, capable of growing weeds or roses depending on what you feed it. And sometimes the person holding the watering can is the same one who salted the earth. Forgiveness isn't absolution. It's choosing to replant anyway. Fingers in the dirt, praying the roots take. The kids start school next week. Leo wants to be Spider-Man for Halloween. Mia wants to be Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Sarah bought the collar online. I smiled when the package arrived, really smiled, and for a moment the house felt almost whole. Almost. The truth is, some cracks let the light in, and some let the dark out, and you don't know which until years later when you look back and see what grew in the fissures. I used to think trust was a monolith. Now I know it's a mosaic. Shattered pieces you can either sweep away or fit back together, jagged edges and all. My kids taught me that the day they came home carrying secrets too heavy for their small hands. They handed me the shards and said, "Fix it, Daddy." I'm still trying. Some days the picture looks nothing like it used to. Some days it looks better. Either way, it's ours. And that's the only truth that still stands when everything else has fallen. Love, like people, is messy and mortal and worth the ache of reconstruction.